Right. So this week we have discussed about the topics related to geography. So first is Romari Dondua wetland complex. You would have studied about Ramsar Convention, okay, Ramsar sites that was signed in this Ramsar city in Iran, right, 2nd February 1971, and they are wetlands which are endangered, threatened either due to natural factors or human intervention. They are basically put under the Ramsar list, and more effort is made to recharge them, okay, and everything. So we talk about this particular area, that is Romari Dondua wetland complex. This is somewhere you have so many protected area. If you look at the state of Assam, northeastern state of Assam, and one of the major protected area you have is this one, that is Kaziranga. So somewhere in the same area you have this particular wetland complex also. Nearby you have a lot of other Ramsar sites like the Por Beel, for example, okay, is a very important Ramsar site of this particular region. So what you have to keep in mind from this particular map, that this place which is in news is part of overall Kaziranga protected reserve as such. Apart from that, we know that Kaziranga also is home of which species largely? One-horned rhinoceros. Right. So that is about this, okay, in the state of Assam is located. So in the beginning we have seen the term that is used is transboundary. So whenever transboundary conservation site term is mentioned, it means it is located both inside India and some other country as such. Like you talk about Bhutan, you have Manas Transboundary Tiger Reserve or Conservation Area. So Manas National Park is in India also, and it is extended in Bhutan also. Similarly, this particular area also is kind of transboundary site, because part of it lies in Assam and the southern part of it lies in the Kurigram district, that is in the Bangladesh as such. Overall, this entire region, as you know that the Brahmaputra river is flowing through this entire state of Assam as such, numerous tributaries meet it. So overall we can say the wetland that is created here is due to which river basin? Brahmaputra river basin as such, okay, water gets collected here and there, northeastern floodplain, nearby the Por Beel, Dheer Beel, Chakla Beel, all of these are basically kind of wetland that you find here. Why this site is news? Because it has been proposed to be included in the Ramsar list, okay, in the year 2025, and this has become very important because if you talk about the environment based question that is being asked in UPSC prelims these days, if any site is being declared as Ramsar site, generally we see question related to that, okay. So not maybe directly to that site, from that site, but from other nearby sites also. So Ramsar sites are very, very important. Tiger reserves very important, okay. Biosphere reserves, we have total how many biosphere reserves? Right. So 14 biosphere reserves, all of these are very important. So make sure that you look at that from the mapping perspective, not at going to detail about this, but from mapping perspective location is required. Now ecological significance of this area, if you look, it is a migratory bird habitat as such. So you know that during the winter month in the Russia you have Siberia, right, in the north, and then you come here, you have India here, and then further you have Central Asia on the upper hand, this side. Then further what you have? Africa. So what happens in the winter month? You see lot of birds from Siberian region and even the Central Asian region, they are migrating and reaching where? India. So you will see not only in the eastern part of India, northeastern part you have, western part you have, like in Keola Deoghana National Park of Rajasthan, right, you will see lot of migratory birds come there, rest there for certain time and again fly back. So similar kind of situation we see in this particular area also. So migratory bird habitat. Second, because it is a fresh water, you have inland fishery, okay, that is being done here, and thus it has economic importance, financial importance also for local population of this particular state. Third is, it is also utilized as which kind of system? Flood buffering ecosystem. Flood buffering means, we know that Brahmaputra river is prone to severe floods. First, because it is very, very lengthy river. Second, it brings large volume of sediment with itself, and that is why sediment blocks the path of river. If there is very heavy monsoon rainfall, what will happen? The river water will overspill along its bank. And if you imagine that this is a river, right, and nearby you have multiple such kind of wetlands, okay, such kind of lakes we can say, okay, like this. So even when the river is overspilling from its bank, if the lakes are not completely full to brim, what will happen? The water can be accommodated by this lake as such, and if the water is accommodated by the lake, that means in the nearby areas where people are living, villages, towns, cities that you have, they will not be affected to that extent by flood. Okay, so that is why it acts as a buffer of flood. Buffer means you have reserve. Okay, extra flood water is stored there. Now, because wetland also support huge amount of plant and trees, forest we can say some extent. So that means it also act as a carbon sink, extract and basically extract carbon from the atmosphere. Diversity wise, which kind of vegetation you will find? Riparian means river based. Okay, that means freshwater ecosystem, largely freshwater vegetation, freshwater fishes you will find in this particular area. That is the ecological significance. Hydrological feature wise, if you look, it has what you can call as seasonal inundation pattern as such. Okay, that means in the monsoon season what will happen? Heavy rainfall, what will happen? Water in the lake will increase in the level, or lake level will be increased. In the dry season what you will find? Water level is kind of reduced. So seasonal, on the basis of seasonal rainfall, you have the increase or decrease in water volume. Monsoon fed ecosystem, same thing. You have riverine sediment deposition and aquatic vegetation regeneration, connectivity with Brahmaputra tributaries. Okay, I told you that river Brahmaputra is flowing in Assam and it has numerous tributaries, right, throughout the state. Like you have Dihang river, Dihang river, then you have the Dhansiri river, then you have the Kameng river, okay, Subansiri river and all that. So that is the point here. What are the threats and challenges? Because I told you in Ramsar site only those sites are included which are facing imminent threat, okay, due to human factor or some natural changes. So the biggest threat that this particular wetland system faces is human led encroachment, and this is a general trend you will see all across India. What is happening? Population density is increasing, demand for agricultural land is continuously increasing, demand for habitation industries are continuously increasing. So whatever natural ecosystem you have, lakes, forests, these are facing what you can call as extreme pressure as such. So area that is covered under lake, they are continuously shrinking as such, and one example of this is in this particular site also. So encroachment due to the demand for conversion of lake into what we can talk about, conversion of lake into agricultural land and the human habitation. Second problem also we have is that because this lake harbors large amount of fishes, fishing is being done here at level that we can call as unsustainable in nature. Now fishes are very important part of the entire food chain and food web. So if you are this consuming fishes at a certain level in which it can be replenished, what will happen? Food chain, aquatic food web will not be affected as such. But we start over consuming and extracting fish more than the rate at which they can be replenished, we can say it is which kind of activity? Unsustainable activity. Entire food chain will be affected as such, that will threaten directly the aquatic ecosystem of this lake. Aquatic ecosystem is not only from their perspective, but also they maintain what you can call as this overall balance in the lake itself. So due to this, what will happen? If you do not control it, the lake itself can become a kind of disaster ridden area as such. Third problem is because of pollution and eutrophication. We know that in nearby areas agricultural activity is something that is being practiced here. Now in modern agriculture we are using large volume of fertilizers, large volume of insecticide, pesticides and all that. So when they are discharged, due to the rainwater flow or due to simply the irrigation water flow, where do they enter? In the lakes. So you have nitrates, phosphate, all this kind of pollutant entering into the lake, that results in eutrophication. Eutrophication means you will have huge amount of nutrient that will result into algal bloom, algal growth. So harmful algal bloom we can call this term as, they cover the entire surface of lake. What will happen if they are covering the entire surface of lake? Sunlight will not be able to enter. That means aquatic life that you have present in the lake, they will not have enough oxygen, okay, sunlight, and that will result into the death. As the large scale death results or occurs, what will happen? Water body will become polluted, because dissolved oxygen level, biological oxygen demand you would have read about, it will shoot up, dissolved oxygen level will reduce as such. So that is how we can understand it. Climate variability also, its effect we can see from here, because you know that climate changes are altering the precipitation pattern all across the world, including India and all that. So there is effect also to some extent we see. Cross border management issue is also a problem, because you know that lake is spread across both India and Bangladesh. So because of this, unless and until you have a proper coordination and cooperation with Bangladeshi authorities, even if you are managing your part of lake in a better manner, Lake is what? Kind of interconnected system. So if pollution is not controlled toward Bangladesh side, if eutrophication is not controlled toward from Bangladesh side, what will happen? Again, the health of entire lake will be affected as such. And that is why we have to ensure that management of lake is done in a proper cooperation, in the manner of cooperation with Bangladeshi government as such. Okay. The same thing, India-Bangladesh joint wetland framework we have. So that is something, and in Assam we have wetland management authority. Okay. So we can ensure cooperation between these all organizations. Transboundary dams are already have discussed, community based ecotourism, and overall we are also trying to find that how the lake ecosystem itself, the health itself is changing by comparing data from satellite. Okay, so satellite based hydrological mapping is something that we have used in the recent times. So that is the first topic, right? So just from examination perspective, I would say it is relevant for prelims examination. Make sure that you are aware about the location. Where is it located? What is the nearby Kaziranga National Park in the state of Assam? Question can be asked like this, that is it located completely within India, or it is located or spread across 2 states or 2 countries, 3 countries. So these kind of facts are asked in prelims examination. Second is exercise Trishul, that is conducted in 2025. It is kind of joint combat exercise that focuses upon which kind of warfare? Network centric warfare. You will see that in India, after Operation Sindoor and the 4 days war we had Pakistan, we have now given too much emphasis on what? Network warfare, drone based warfare. We are trying to develop our capacity in tackling aerial threat also, whether it is short range threat, medium range threat and the long range threat and all that. So in that direction itself, one step is taken, that is called as exercise this is Trishul as such. Trishul because it includes all the 3 branches of Indian military, that is Army, Navy and Air Force. Now where we are doing this exercise? First of all, November 2025 in the Andaman and Nicobar, because it is Naval Command, Andaman Nicobar Naval Command, and in these days we have given too much focus, that is required also in the Andaman Nicobar Island as well as Lakshadweep Island. Why? Because you have seen increased presence and assertiveness of Chinese Navy in the Indian Ocean region, and that is why you would have heard about Project Nicobar. We are trying to develop the airports kind of infrastructure, port infrastructure, township and the military bases all around this particular area as such. Overall objective was to have an understanding between all the 3 wings of the Indian military, so that if the time and the need arises, integrated warfare can be conducted, where all the 3 wings will cooperate and will carry out attack. Code name Trishul, and overall the objective is what? Strike and shield. Okay, that means focus is on 2 dimensions. One is offensive dimension. Offensive dimension is when you are striking the targets of the enemies, right? Whether it is the naval warship or whether it is the aerial targets such as drones or aircrafts or even land-based stations, military bases and all that. And shield is equally important because we have to be defensive also. Why? Because we have to protect our own vital infrastructure, whether it is civilian infrastructure or defense infrastructure. So shield is something that we are using it as what? What we are using it as shield? Simple air defense system, that we have Akash for the short range, then we have Barak system for the medium range, and then we have the S-400 system for the long range. That is example of shield. Strike means the missile capabilities that we have. Okay, missile capabilities such as BrahMos missile we can talk about, or the fighter jet aircrafts that we have, Rafale for example, we have inducted recently from France and all that. So that is the overall thing. Key feature is here focus was on same. Okay, again these are things that you have to keep in mind. Real time battlefield simulation. Okay, that means in the exercise what is ensured? That it's not something that people think or the soldiers think that this is an exercise, they take it very seriously as such. So exactly how battlefield might look like, okay, in the real time, because now we also have data, informations and all that, because since 1999 we have not fought any war as such. So this particular war that we had with Pakistan also is something that we are learning or taking as a lesson, that how Pakistan has attacked, what kind of instruments they have used, what kind of system they have used, right? So by using this all information, we are trying to simulate similar kind of battlefield, and then we are trying to react, act and react both we can say. So, right, joint command network, the emphasis was given on again what? Cyber and space operations testing as such, right? Drone AI integration, that is we understand, and overall because Andaman Nicobar Island is basically island, okay, it is oceanic area. So what you are focused upon here? Amphibious assault drills. Amphibious means both land based as well as water based. How we can ensure coordination? So in US would have seen about Navy SEALs. Okay, so Navy SEALs are having expertise in such kind of amphibious assault and such, okay, search and rescue operation or a strike operation, surgical strike that we can call it. So for these kind of operations, such kind of drills play a very important role. Okay, now if we talk about the technological aspect, that is again command control, and this you have integration of this surveillance and reconnaissance, okay, all these kind of things. So we also have to be aware about the capacity of enemy. Before, like for example, we have talked about the strike and shield. How your strike and shield will be effective in nature? Only if you are aware about the enemy's capability, enemy plans, and there what comes into picture? The surveillance and reconnaissance operation. So in any battlefield drill, this is going to be very important component or part of it. So that is what we have included. Integrated battle management, AI based, again same thing, UAV fighter coordination, overall maritime domain awareness, because what is the problem in the Indian Ocean region? China's aggressive posture, and for that matter maritime domain awareness is vital in aspect. Strategic significance we talk about is what? We are ready for participating in any kind of battle or war that might occur in future. Which region? Indo-Pacific theatre. So it portrays or it basically indicates our readiness to tackle any challenge in Indo-Pacific region. Okay, it is interesting because in earlier you had two ocean, Indian Ocean, still you have Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. In the case of geopolitics, when the Barack Obama administration came, they clubbed it together. Why? Because you have the grouping of Quad as such. So in Quad, who are the members? US, then we have India, Australia, Japan. Australia, Japan, they are more what you can call as Pacific power. India is in the Indian Ocean. US has bases everywhere as such. That is why they created a unified kind of command as such, Indo-Pacific. Okay, so to ensure that whatever actions and decisions are taken, it is taken on the basis of unified theatre, Indo-Pacific. Okay, so that is the readiness. Second is strengthening of the theatre command, that is Andaman Nicobar. Same thing, force interoperability simply means that all the three forces should be able to work together, okay, in close coordination with each other. Plus we are also trying to increase our response capability so that we are able to respond to any threat in a much more rapid manner as such. And that is why you will see even in the northeastern region where you have the vulnerable corridor of Siliguri corridor or chicken neck that you call it, now we are also carrying out continuous exercise and all that. We have deployed many battalions which are known for quick reaction, okay, QRTs you can call them, quick reaction team. So Bhairo battalion for example you have, okay, before that also 1-2 battalions you have. So all of these are basically to ensure that the response should be rapid in nature if enemy threatens any part of India as such. And overall we can say it is nothing but an example of strategic deterrence posture. What is deterrence? That means your military capability should be developed in such a manner and should be clearly visible in such a manner that enemy should think, okay, twice before carrying out any strike. Okay, your actions and your capabilities should basically deter enemy from attacking your territory as such. Like nuclear weapons we talk about, it is also example of what? Deterrence. Okay, so that is the objective of development here. Participating platform, again if you talk about, we have the INS Vikrant, indigenously developed aircraft carrier of India, developed in the Cochin shipyard you have. Then P-8I aircraft that we have imported I think from US, okay, and then we have Rafale as you know from France, okay. Then from Russia we have Su-30. So advanced fighter jet plus aircraft carrier we have seen being involved here. As far as the ground system is concerned, one of the most advanced tank today in the world, battlefield tank we can say, is T-90. Okay, again the technology is Russian technology. And then we have Akash system. Involvement wise, we know that there are 3 special forces in each of the wing of military. So para troops you have in the army, Marcos marine commandos, okay, that is navy, and then you have Garud, that is in the air force. So we have seen the participation of the special forces of all the 3 wings of army here. Integrated combination grid, okay, that is what something we are trying to establish here. So that is about this. Mapping best fact, simple, you have to go through the Andaman Nicobar, nothing new, we have discussed already in class, okay, maybe, no, not now, for you, still this island groups we have to do, right. So in island group we will talk about both of the island, North Andaman, Middle Andaman, South Andaman, okay, what are the important islands where we have the important water bodies and all that. So nothing new, simply Andaman Nicobar Island you have to prepare from the perspective of map. What is the capital of Andaman Nicobar? This is the old name, right. Port Blair was old name. What is the new name? Then it was renamed as Sri Vijayapuram as such. Okay, so these kind of changes that is taking place, you should be aware about that. So Andaman Nicobar Island, strategic choke point nearby, what do we have? Straits we have discussed in first class itself. Okay, one of the strait is Malacca Strait, connecting what's the Andaman Sea that you have part of Bay of Bengal, and then you have the South China Sea part of Pacific Ocean. Okay, between which region? So here you talk about like this. Okay, this is your Indonesia, Sumatra Island, and this side you have the Singapore. Okay, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. So between these regions is a small strait, narrow strait, that is called as Malacca Strait. It is vital because it is the extreme dependency of China on this strait that makes it critical for India to have their control over it. That means in the case of war with China, what we can do? We can use this for our advantage by choking the Strait of Malacca, by blocking the Strait of Malacca, so that China will have also problems in importing vital commodities, especially oil, gas, and that talk about. So that is thing. Indo-Pacific Maritime Route, exclusive economic zone overlapping is another problem that we have. So later in the future, we might have problems because of this. Okay, and then same thing, tri-services coordination hub as such. So that's about this. Next is the new report that has come from the WMO, which stands for World Meteorological Organization as such. World Meteorological Organization. So the report came in this year 2025, and the report has talked about two phenomena. One we know is global warming due to rising emission of greenhouse gases, and second is what we can call as La Nina as such. Okay, so La Nina basically, okay, first of all, if finding talk about, we'll discuss the phenomena later. What is the key finding of this particular report? First of all, what we are witnessing is the record global temperature rise, and this is something that you see every year. Every year, if you look at the maximum temperature in the summer time, they are saying that it is the highest record temperature for the first time. Next year, what happens? This further increases. So this is something that is not a one-off phenomena. It has become a kind of trend where every year the summer highest temperature in the summer month has become kind of highest in nature. And also, if you try to link it, La Nina, if you understand, La Nina can be simply referred as cooling of surface water because of cold current develops near which region? Coast of South America as such. Okay, South America means if you draw like this, this is the map of South America. So along this area, okay, along this area, what happens? You have development of extreme cold water. If the development of extreme cold water happens, that means obviously it will have which kind of impact? Cooling impact. The reverse condition is what we call as El Nino. El Nino, what happens? Warming condition is seen. So what we have witnessed that La Nina used to have cooling effect on the overall global temperature, ocean temperature, atmospheric temperature. But even when the La Nina is being observed in this particular area, now what we are witnessing? The impact of cooling has lessened. Okay, it is not cooling to that extent that it used to do few decades back as such. And ocean heat content has reached at its peak as such. We know that 80% of the atmospheric heat that you have is again absorbed by ocean itself, right? Because they are continuously interacting with each other. So whatever greenhouse gases you are emitting, first you are warming the atmosphere, and then further you are then warming the ocean as such. And then you can link it, we have talked about coral reef. So due to the ocean warming, sea surface temperature rise and all, what we have seen, coral bleaching has become a common phenomena that is affecting the entire maritime, biodiversity, right? Other effect will be simple, melting of glaciers and the loss of Arctic ice. Large chunks of Arctic ice shelf, they have started to disintegrate, they have started to melt, and due to this, what we are seeing, the sea level will start to rise as such. If the sea level rises, the coastal community across the islands or the coastal areas of countries that you have, they will be severely impacted as such. What is the reason? Simple, increased level of carbon dioxide. The recent data has shown that the CO2 level in atmosphere has climbed up to how much? 420 ppm as such. Okay, in 2016 it was 415 ppm. So it is continuously rising. And to give you idea, if you go back in 18th century, that means industrialization has not begun. What is the ratio, this amount of CO2 in the atmosphere? 290 ppm. So from 290 ppm to 420 ppm, it is not a result of natural factor. It is simply because of anthropogenic factor, that is industrialization, vehicular emissions, and cutting of forest, deforestation, all that we can call it. So simply we can say, if you try to link all of them, what WMO is trying to say, that the sole factor responsible for extreme rise of temperature seems to be increased level of CO2 due to increased temperature. What we are witnessing, ocean heat content has reached at its peak, And due to this, what we are witnessing? Melting of glacier and loss of Arctic ice shelf. So it has a kind of cascading effect you will see in every aspect of life as such. Causes same thing. Why CO2 concentration increases? Persistent greenhouse emission as such. El Nino southern oscillation is seen to be completely imbalanced. That is same thing. The cooling is not happening and affecting to that extent. Warming is on the other hand is happening at much more higher intensity as such. Industrially bound post 2024 is also the reason. Post 2024 means actually post 2021, because COVID time what we have seen, decline in the industrial activity, decline in the vehicular pollution and all that. But again after COVID lockdown, as the world began to reach to its original or this this COVID level, we have seen a rebound of industrial activity and we have seen a kind of sudden increase in the CO2 level as such. Plus we know that as the population is continuously rising, world today has more than 8 billion people. Land is what? Kind of either same, steady or even shrinking in nature. Due to this, what will happen? The forest will be under pressure, and as you cut the forest for agricultural land, for habitation development, for industrial activity, this mineral extraction, what will happen? Carbon sink will keep on getting reduced. So you can understand, on one hand you are emitting more CO2 than before. At the same time, whatever absorbs CO2, you are further cutting them. So you are basically attacking climate from or environment from or atmosphere from both sides. Okay. So that is the combined effect. And overall aerosol cloud feedback also we can understand, because if aerosol are present in the atmosphere, what happens? It acts as a cloud condensation nuclei as such. So clouds form, condensation happen, rainfall occurs. Okay. So all this rain is coming back where? In the ocean itself. So cooling happens, but again because of high temperature, they re-evaporate back. Okay. So this is also the cycle that seems to be getting affected here as such. Regional impact we are seeing not only in certain regions but everywhere you can see. In South Asia, effect of this global warming is seen in which kind of phenomena? Heat waves. NDMA, that is Authority of India, few years back they did not categorize, and even today they have not categorized it as natural disaster as such. Because the people or the population impacted by heat waves were very, very low. Now last year for the first time the debate arose that heat waves should also be classified as what? Natural disaster, same like cyclones, floods, droughts, tsunamis and all that, because number of people getting impacted by such kind of phenomena has suddenly increased, and that to large extent is due to global warming, right? Africa, Australia, what they are witnessing? A drought like situation. East Asia, what do you have? I told you that some areas will have severe drought, some area will have extreme amount of rainfall. So floods, this already we understand, coral bleaching is being recorded, plus the monsoonal pattern seems to be completely disturbed as such. Sometimes monsoon sets very early, sometimes they withdraw very early, sometimes the set or onset is very delayed, sometimes withdrawal is very delayed as such. So this randomness that has crept up in the monsoon and its pattern, to a large extent it is responsibility, it is due to the factor of global warming, that is due to greenhouse gas emission, especially CO2. So what WMO has stated, that La Nina has overall failed to cool the planet as such, and thus increased ocean stratification, layering is we are saying, because the ocean water is more warmer. What will happen? The warmer water will keep on floating off the colder water. So stratification means layering of ocean we are seeing. Climate tipping point seems to be coming very close, right? We actually gave target to ourselves in Paris summit that by the end of 2100 we will ensure that global atmospheric temperature does not rise beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2 degrees Celsius, but that seems to be almost impossible as such, because for that it is seen that you have to reduce emission by 43%. What we have done in the last couple of decades, we have increased emission by 3 to 5%. So rather than cutting, we are increasing emission. So obviously that challenge or that target we will not be able to complete, and that is considered as a tipping point. That means something we can call as irreversible in nature. The damage on to the atmosphere, the change of climate or climate change will be to that extent that we cannot reverse it no matter whatever we do after that, right? So urgent emission cuts is required. Adaptation deficit is widening. Adaptation means two things are there that we use in the climate change related terms: mitigation and adaptation. What is the difference? Basically, and that is recently there was a news because Bill Gates, who earlier focused upon what? Adaptation. Now he is shifting to mitigation as such. He is saying that climate change is something that will not end humanity. Okay, he has changed his total standpoint. Okay, earlier he used to say that climate change we have to restrict by restricting emissions and all that. He is saying that it will not end humanity. Humanity is resilient. Rather, we should focus on what? Focus on mitigation as such. Okay, the effect of climate change. We have to be resilient in nature. We have to build our capacity so that we can sustain the effect of climate change. We should be able to fight the effect of climate change. India also we have similar context. Indian Meteorological Department, that is the organization we have in India. In 2025, what they have witnessed, that India has seen the warmest decade of its entire history as such. That is why I told you in the beginning that it's not only 1 year or 2 year. Every year it seems that the temperature, average temperature has kept on rising up. So warmest decade, maybe next decade will be what? Even more warm than this. Himalayan glaciers, due to this what is happening? Retreating at very fast rate. Gangotri glacier that used to retreat at the rate of 5 centimeter per year, it has retreated now by 30 centimeters per year. So that is because of single region, that is warm effect. Heat stress is developing in urban areas, monsoon variability pattern, same thing. And because of this all, what will happen? Crop yield will also see kind of anomaly, and that will directly impact what? Food security of India as such. So everything is kind of connected. So that is how you have to frame answer if question is asked in examination. Next is simple topic, but very important, because whenever such topic is in news, UPSC generally in prelims ask question from that. So the topic is, I think in last current affair class I told you that COP30 summit is going to take place in the Brazil. So it is in this summit there is a discussion about tropical forest forever fund as such. So COP29 2025, the fund will be managed by a consortium of 3 organizations. That is, one is United Nations Environment Program. Okay, then we have this GEF and WRI. I am forgetting the full form. You can take a look later, right? It is given in the booklet. So UNEP, GEF and WRI. Overall funding corpus decided was to be around $25 billion. And here again, clear from the name itself, which area will be focused here? Tropical regions. So somewhere we can say 30° north to 30° south. So these are the countries. So overall you have 30 plus tropical nations who will be beneficiary of this fund as such. Focus is as clear from the term itself. What we are focusing upon here? That the trend of deforestation that these countries have witnessed, either due to conversion of forest land to agricultural land or plantation land or other things, that has to be first of all stopped, and rather we should do what? Afforestation. So first of all we have to stop the shrinking area of forest, and second approach should be to increase the overall forest cover as such, right? That is the overall objective here. Okay. So why we are concerned or interested in increasing our forest cover? Because we know that higher the extent of forest on the earth, higher will be the carbon sequestration effect. That means this we can directly use as a tool to counter what? Global warming and climate change. Okay. So one of the easiest ways. Plus we know that forest is not only for trees and plants. Forests support large number of fauna also, faunal species we can say, animal species we can say. So if the forest area is conserved and further it is increased, we can also ensure protection of biodiversity. Third, forest in many part is integrated with the livelihood of community. In India we talk many time about traditional forest dwelling community as such. These are largely people who belong to which community? Tribal community. So due to deforestation, it has a human impact also. If you are cutting the forest, the tribes who have permanently reside in the forest, they will have no other option but to migrate away. That means their livelihood will be impacted, because their entire life is revolving around forest produce and everything like that. So through afforestation, we will also try to integrate what? Livelihood of the community, traditional forest dwelling community as such. Okay, payment for ecosystem services, and it also will be helpful in accessing the climate finance. Climate finance means the fund to fight the climate change, either by taking adaptation measure or by taking mitigation measures. Then mechanism is green bonds, rate swaps, that you have financial mechanism you have studied about. The disbursement will not be kind of equal in nature. It will be based on what? Performance. If any country is able to reduce deforestation, increase forest cover, they will be one who will receive higher amount of fund. Okay, so it is to serve as what you can call as incentive, okay, or encouragement, so that countries take a strong action. Okay, forest carbon credit, indigenous stewardship model is there. That means you have to integrate the local community also as far as the conservation of the forest ecosystem is concerned as such. Okay, and then this also is reflection of global south partnership. you might have heard about this term. In the geopolitics, this term is being used a lot these days. Okay, it is kind of being seen as a counter of what the Western world. Okay, and then you have the global South, largely made up of developing countries, which India, China both are claiming to be leader of or representing them. So that's the overall mechanism. Then Indian context, if you look at where it will be relevant, so we know that deforestation is being seen in the which area? First is Western Ghat, because Western Ghat has very high forest cover, mountain, and at the same time it has lot of mineral resources. So problem is that you talk about Kasturi Rangan committee report, or before and after that you have Gadgil committee report, both have recommended that almost 75%, 67% actually, 67% of the Western Ghats should be declared as a protected area. That means no kind of economic activity should be allowed here, whether it is mining, whether it is hydroelectricity generation or anything like that, wind power generation. Similarly, we seeing the increased deforestation, which region also? Northeastern region. So such fund should be utilized and can be utilized in these two major areas as such. Plus India already has unveiled a Green India mission where it want to increase its forest cover to how much percentage? Total area wise you talk about 30% total area. For as of now we have about 24.8% total area under forest cover as such. So almost 5-6% more we have to increase under Green India mission as such. Right? CAMPA is nothing but compensatory funds that you have. Like suppose for industrial activity, some companies have caused deforestation. Suppose they have caused deforestation in 10 hectares of land. Now what they have to do? They have to develop 10 hectares of land everywhere, anywhere else in India as a forest, right? And for that they have to provide what? Funds. Okay, so compensatory forest fund is something that is part of CAMPA. Same local community participation and RED plus. Okay, UN has a RED plus synergy again for the deforestation, like for example reversing deforestation and all that. So this is what we have to understand here. Global partners again, tropical countries. Which tropical countries who have the largest forest cover? Which country will come here? Brazil, Congo, Indonesia. Which organization? World Bank. Okay, it will be used for disbursement of fund as such. Then we have food and agricultural organization. Private sector you have, we have included corporate social responsibility also. CAMPA you can link it with. Okay, that is a social responsibility. Civil society, youth NGO participant we can say. Plus okay, ESG compliance framework also we can use here. Mapping best fact, nothing, because tropical region is used here. From mapping perspective, what you have to keep in mind here? So first of all, there are two main lines, Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So question is generally asked these days, which are the countries located on Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn? This has become kind of easy. Now UPSC is going in more detail. They are asking a specific geographical features. Like this year itself they have asked, given I think 3 and 4 lakes, and they asked that which of these lakes are located at the equator. So because Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn also are very important lines, so make sure you go and do slightly more in-depth and detailed studies. Okay, so you can take a look at the map and all that, but that question generally was very difficult because the lakes, it's not something that you will keep coming in news. It's something that if you know, you know, otherwise it's difficult. Western Ghat, Northeast, carbon hotspot mapping, forest cover change trend. Overall, the data we are getting from the Global Forest Watch that tells us that globally how forest cover is decreasing, increasing, or how the trend is changing as such. Okay, so that is about the mapping based fact. The last topic is from the Karnataka itself, right? A new species of spider we have discovered. The spider we have discovered from Chikmagaluru, from Karnataka. What is the name of spider? It is referred as Pilia marinadu. Okay, that is the name given to this spider species. Now, why this is significant discovery? Because almost after 125 years, for the first time we have sighted this spider species in Western Ghat. Last record sighting was 125 years back, something like that. So, year of discovery is 2025. Again, location again Chikmagaluru. Which is the research body that was involved here? Asoka Trust for Research in Ecology. Not very important. Okay, just name. See, from here if I told you what kind of question will be asked from here. If you look at the general pattern of UPSC, they will give you name of the species. Either it can be plant species or it can be animal species. One side you will have the name of the regions where these species have been discovered from. Or they can ask single-handed question. That means recently a particular spider species name, was in news. From which of the regions of India we have discovered it? Many such kind of questions have been asked in the past as such. So generally that time there was a rule that if Andaman Nicobar is an option, that means it should be from Andaman Nicobar. If you do not know, you can actually take a guess, Andaman Nicobar, right? But now if you talk about Western Ghats, Andaman Nicobar, and then you have the northeastern India. These are the regions from where we are getting more and more number of fauna and flora, new discovery. So that's the point. So Western Ghats, Chikmagalur, we have natural vegetation of India we have not covered. When we discuss about this, I will tell you that which part of India you have which kind of forest. So this is something you will not have to remember. If you know that we are talking about Chikmagalur region, by automatically you should be able to tell which kind of forest reserve you will, type of forest you will find there. Moist deciduous, dry deciduous, okay, you have the tropical rainforest, evergreen forest and all that. Genus is same, Pilia, family is Falsida, okay, again scientific terminology classification that we have done here. Morphological features, again this is just for understanding purposes. UPSC will not ask questions in so much detail that what is the morphological feature, how many eyes a spider has and everything like that, right. So small body, translucent spider, that is something I can keep in mind. Translucent means kind of you can see, okay, on the other side of the spider's body as such, okay, it is not completely opaque. Distinct genital morphology, web pattern is unique to the particular genus. The way how spider web is created, okay, they create a very unique kind of web pattern that is not seen in the other common spider as such, and that is what makes it interesting. Now it is nocturnal insectivore. Nocturnal means night. In night time it hunts. What does it hunt? Simple, like every spider, it is insectivorous species. Indicator of microhabitat quality. Generally scientists believe that if this spider species is found in a particular habitat, a particular area, it means that the quality of microhabitat is very good as such, okay, otherwise the spider cannot survive. So that is a positive angle of this entire development. Ecological role, simple, we know that any animal including a spider, any insect or whatever this Archinida we talk about, they are part of what you can call as food wave, food chain. So because they are feeding upon insects, how they are helping us? By controlling insect population. They are part of forest floor, food wave. Bioindicator species, again they indicate the health of this entire ecosystem as such. It contributes to ecological balances, and they are also sensitive to habitat disturbance as such. So due to anthropogenic factors, due to climate change, if the entire habitat of Western Ghats begins to change, what will happen? Due to deforestation, for example, or pollution level increases, for example, rainfall pattern changes, for example, what will happen? This spider species will disappear. So as long as you find this spider species, you would have read in environment indicator species and this bioindicator species and all that. So many species are there, they reflect the health of the ecosystem. So that is the point. Significance of Western Ghat, if you look, it is example of which area? UNESCO World Heritage Region, that you have biodiversity hotspot basically, okay, we can say. So biodiversity hotspot. Second, in the Western Ghat, what we see, highest this endemism in the species of invertebrates, vertebrates and invertebrates. Humans are example of vertebrates, because what we have, vertebral column or spinal column as such. Invertebrates means those organisms without a spinal column. Endemism means specifically found in this particular region itself, okay, endemic to a particular area. So in the Western Ghat you will find such large number of invertebrates who are found only in this region only, in the entire world we are talking about, right. That is what talk about endemism. Same, microclimatic diversity. And what is the biggest threat for such kind of species? Simple, they are forest dwelling creatures. That means they will be threatened by which activity? Deforestation as such, right. So that is the significance of Western Ghats. Right. Conservation implications, why we need to conserve them? Same, the microfaunal surveys are there, okay, habitat protection should be priority, species inventory expansion we are doing, because there are so many species in the entire world, right. We do not have understanding how many different animal species, how many different plant species, insect species exist in our environment. And this is the irony also, because at one point we are trying to reduce deforestation, and the areas where we cannot control it, we are losing lot of such species who we might never have encountered before. So many of the species do not know they also are facing extinction, and we never may be able to see them again as such, okay. The trend of deforestation continue as such. So it is directly linked with the restoration of the forest cover and all that, and that is why also by talking about such kind of small organisms, we try to increase awareness about conservation, not only of invertebrate, but they are linked with the entire food chain and food wave as such. So overall it has a huge conservation impact. Mapping based fact simple. What do we have? Chikmagalur in Karnataka, part of the which range? Central Western Ghat. Western Ghat we divided into 3 ranges. Northern Western Ghat, that is from Gujarat to Goa. Okay. Then from Goa to Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala border, where you have Nilgiri Hills, that is part of Central Western Ghat. And in the Kerala, you have ranges such as Annamalai Range, Palani Range, Cardamom Hills, Varushnad Hill. Those are part of Southern Western Ghat, right? So this is part of Central Western Ghat. Adjacent hotspot, what do you have? Kudremukh Reserves, Bhadra Wildlife Sanctuary, Bhadra River. Elevation zone is between 800 to 1200 meters. Forest type we have discussed is moist deciduous forest such. Okay, so that is from the Western Ghat topic you have to study in the physiographical region of India. What is the 5 physiographical region? Himalayas, Great Plains of India, Peninsular Plateau, Coastal Plain and Island groups. So Western Ghat is part of which of the region? Peninsular Plateau. Okay, Western Ghat, Eastern Ghat both. So part of Peninsular Plateau. That is what you can see. Now if you look at few questions, okay, based on the topics that we have discussed, simple. The tri-services exercise, the SOOL 2025 was recently conducted with the primary objective of enhancing what? Joint cyber and space defense readiness. Okay, so network centric warfare we have discussed about, right? That was the main focus. Second is, according to WMO report, why did global warming persist despite La Nina? La Nina is a cooling condition, right? So despite La Nina, why global warming persisted in this year? Persistent greenhouse gas accumulation has offset the cooling effect as such, right? Tropical Forest Forever Fund primarily aims to simple see provide long-term funding for tropical forest conservation. So that's fine. Then recently discovered spider species Pilia malinadu, right, belongs to which Indian biodiversity hotspot? Western Ghat. So now it is easier because you just have read about this. Now imagine that you have read about such 20 species in course of 1-2 years, and then out of that 20 they give 3-4 randomly and give Western Ghat, Eastern Ghat. What will happen? You will get confused. So this is basically you have to revise, okay, keep on revising, make a list of such kind of species, because in prelims questions are generally asked from this chapter, this particular topic as such. So whenever you come across news, you do not have to go in detail about that, okay, we just have discussed so many things. Largely I talk about the name of species, what kind of organism it is, which part of India was it discovered from, okay, it is more than enough for prelims. Okay. Last is importance wise, El Nino La Nina phenomena that we have discussed, it is the most important one, directly linked with India's climate plus concept learning, regions, disaster management, climatology. Okay, a lot of factors, a lot of these topics you have interlinkage with it. Then Raumari wetland, also important, because wetland Ramsar sites are very important part of UPSC syllabus. Regularly we have seen questions being asked on this. So pre-based fact you have to largely talk about. Wetland based question they have recently asked also in the mains examination. 2018 mains Ramsar convention based question was asked. Some point like this you can adhere. Pilia malinadu not that important, but from prelims perspective, fact just you have to keep in mind. Exercise through SOOL, again not very important, because a lot of such exercises we are conducting on a regular basis. So maybe in 1 month 3-4 such exercises are being conducted. So not have to specifically remember about that, which exercise where it is conducted. But if you remember, you can use this as a pointer while writing defense based answer, okay, in the mains GS2, GS3. Tropical Forest Forever Fund, that is important, because whenever such fund is installed, instituted, especially on a global basis as an outcome of conference of parties meeting or the UN meeting as such, what happens? You will see UPSC asking question from that. So make sure that you remember about this, okay, properly read through the booklet, okay, or that you have. So that's all about this particular topic, right?